Now, how are you, my friends, my colleagues, my fellow captives? How are you, good people, good citizens? The people who try to fight and survive. In countries like ours in Africa, it is the survival for the fittest. The day you survive, you must congregate yourself. People in Uganda have started saying that at the tail end of the departure of Mr. Museveni, Ugandans who will have remained must be given certificates of survival. Others even say it must be a degree of survival, because it's really hard to live in this environment. You find people as young as the other day I met a young man and he told me at 31, but the guy looked 50 because he's been depressed, he's been stressed by the environment he lives in. I want to say thank you for surviving. Keep fighting on, keep hanging in. So that needs a task. We are in this environment of COVID. Guys, don't forget your mask. Don't forget it. Must keep on. I also have this other one. So you must keep a mask. You must have your sanitizer. Or you can even wash your hands. You must keep social distance. Because as you're all aware, the cost of medication for COVID, if you're not corrupt, you may not be able to manage it. It is for those who have enormous money. We have had people die, and about you hear the bills of 150 million, 400 million Uganda shillings. So in that way, you must really fight and survive and make sure that you don't get COVID. I also implore, get on making sure that you are vaccinated, so that when the COVID virus gets to you, your body's immune is too strong to survive. Today, I have come to address an issue that is common knowledge, that has become part of our life, that has become too normal in Africa. That's corruption. I was reading a book of a famous writer, Achinwa Achebe, no longer is. These guys, the Igbos who had come from Umofia, who came to work in Lagos, and they had an association, Umofia Progressive Association. They would always meet regularly to socialize, to encourage each other, to bond, and see how best they can progress as a team. One day, there was a case of one of them, their own, who had stolen public money. And they said he was an insult to their community. So as the case was put before their council of elders in their association, one of them came up and said, and asked, and was, what brought us to Lagos? Somebody replied, jobs. And said, if there are jobs, you do have enough land to till? They said yes. Did you have enough water to do fishing? They said yes. Did you have enough timber to do carpentry? They said yes. So in all what you raised, their response was in the affirmative. Then he said, what brought us to Lagos? They said what brought us to Lagos was to get money. So he said, now our colleague is right. He has been able to access what brought us to Lagos. So Chinua Achebe was telling you it's no longer at ease. The things have changed. What would look like a taboo now becomes normal. There was a lorry that had a rating, God's Case No Appeal. Those who have read that book, and you can always find it. They're not very expensive. I always implore colleagues to read. The lorry, you know, people would sit at the back. I know in many parts of Africa, people still are carried at the back. So when on that lorry, a traffic officer stopped the lorry. But what happened is the driver got out with some money, came and pretended as if he was greeting him, and he put money in his palm and drove away. Later we started seeing such situations in many countries, and our countries in Uganda, and it became normal for one to give money to a traffic officer so that he's not penalized for the offense he has committed. You see somebody put on a seatbelt, they first see a police officer because they think it is punishable. Not it saves their life, it's punishable. Here people are on motorcycles, probably known as boda boda, here called Okadas. For someone to put on a helmet, first sees a police officer. And the police officer knows when he goes on the road, he goes back home with a lot of money. So I'm showing you how corruption became a normal. Today they are using the word a new normal. Today, a young man who just got out of university in 1 year wants a cool house, which is about $100,000. He wants a car, which is about the same money, or half that money, just in 1 year. And when somebody gets all that money and buys land, huge lands, buys an SUV, constructs a huge house, nobody will ask, where did he get the money? They upload. The sign of a neighbor who doesn't do the same is criticized by his parents. Then how did you become too sick? Why can't you be like so-and-so's neighbor? Those are the questions. In the church, if somebody was on television on the daily front pages to have stolen money, churches will be inviting him to become a guest of honor for fundraisers. Nobody will criticize him. He will sit at the front seat and be given a microphone to speak to the congregation. And they will sing hallelujah when you bring some of the money. It has become new normal. stealing public resources. It's not a taboo. When somebody steals, it seems, he's now owned by his people. His family, his kinsmen, his tribe, his region, that he's one of us. We'll go to court, they'll all come in court and defend him. They never think about the effect of corruption. Today, careerism has died out. In the past, somebody would be a career teacher, a career doctor, a career lawyer, a career social worker. Somebody would keep at their jobs. But today, people do not mind about what kind of jobs they do. Provide pays. You find doctors and do this, you find lawyers not in the legal frontier, you find journalists running away from journalism because in some other sectors they're paid. They go with these lines. Money is everything. Doesn't matter how you get it, provided you have it. Is that how we are moving? So like, well, while you have money, nobody minds. Today you have seen people steal and everybody takes its own. Corruption, you must know. There's nothing that is more demoralizing and destructive, more disempowering for any citizen than the belief that the system is rigged against them. That was a statement said by Secretary of State Kerry. As you see people when, like in Uganda, when you see people in demonstrations, you see people burning public vehicles. Why? They don't see them as their vehicles. They don't see the occupants as their workers. They see them. So, corruption can be that bad. For people to see the state as the enemy. Those ones against them, we against them. Corruption. When people look at people in position as crooks, as mafias, stealing the future of your own people. Today, like, politics has been seen as people wanting offices to go and steal the future of their own people. As thugs, as liars, as one way of getting rich quick, as a lottery ticket. When somebody bets football, you put there 1,000 shillings and get how many millions? Corruption has put in people's mind to look at those in power as mafias, as hyenas, and the hungry hyena. There could be a but the hungry hyena, as vultures, seeing beef or a rotting animal on the road. Corruption. Takes away opportunities. Recently, a professor who died, said that The PS of the Ministry of Health got a vacancy at Makaya, the medical school, without the required marks. That means another person with qualification who should have been at medical school was never admitted. He was telling us in his book of how many people apply for jobs and number one is not given the job. So they give the second, the third, or the fifth. That is how bad corruption can be. I have met young men in jail. I think I should also be awarded. I've been in almost all the jails in this country. But when you find those young men called criminals, they will tell you, we didn't go to school. And why they didn't go to school? Why? Somebody should have constructed a school into the money. UPE doesn't have enough money because the teachers are not paid, somebody gets the money. Somewhere his dad, he never went to school because he's an orphan. The dad died because there were no medicine in hospital. So many people's opportunities, dreams are shattered because of corruption. Many people would have been MPs because of corruption. The Electoral Commission announces another person. Many people would have given good services in forms of being awarded with contracts. Contracts are awarded to people who have briefcase companies. So corruption can really be a very, very delicate, dangerous problem to any society where it is. Africa is where it is because of corruption. One day, a Ugandan engineer went and visited a Dutch engineer. He found the guy had a very beautiful house. So he asked him, where did you get the money to construct this house? The engineer said that, you saw the road that brought you? They said, marvelous, the best road. Said, yes. The balance on that road is what I used to construct this house. After some time, the Dutch engineer came to visit Uganda, his counterpart. When he saw the house was a mansion, you man, seems, is this a set house? So it's my house. Where did you get money to construct this kind of house? He said, you saw the road that brought you, that, oh, it's horrible. I need some massage. He said, yes, the money that was made to construct that road is what I used to build this hospital. Another story has been moving around social media, especially WhatsApp, was when they said that, again, was showing you how corrupt Africans can be. That one time, White House wanted to have a facelift. They invited for tenders. There was an American, a Chinese, and an African. The Chinese, the American, the Chinese said, let's sell oil, we do it at $1,000. The American said, I'll do it at $2,000. The Ugandan said, I'll do the same job at $3,000. So the contract committee was interested in how this guy was going to do the job, the African. The guy said, no, this is how I'm going to do it. $1,000 for you, the contracts committee, another $1 for me, the contractor, and then $1,000 will be given to the Chinese to do the job. So the guy won't do the job, but will earn money, a cool $1,000. And it is normal. It's part of the normal. That is why you see projects are very expensive. Because whoever handles the matter must speak something. If you go to my YouTube account, you will see one of the recording about infrastructures in Uganda. You'll see how the comparison between dams in Uganda, Ethiopia, and Lesotho. You will see in Uganda the amount of money, megawatt, the cost of a megawatt in Uganda would actually construct about 3 megawatts in Ethiopia. The Bujagali Dam that was constructed, its cost would construct a similar dam of the same size in India, and they would be solved. Because about $1 billion was used to construct that Bujagali Dam. But a dam its size in India had been constructed using 250 billion megawatts, billion dollars. Sorry, million US dollars. So those are 4 dams. If that same money had been given to the Indians, we would have 4 dams. For us, 1, and money is borrowed, and even those borrowing it got a kickback. Now the contractors also got a kickback. So at the end of the day, it is the reason why the cost of electricity is too high. So in a corrupt system, it is hard to survive. There are cartels. You hear something they call nepotism and tribalism. There's nothing like tribalism. The reason why you see people bring those they call from their home areas is to cover their back. Not to give them job because they like them. To know that I have somebody at the Ministry of Finance, I have somebody at the district as is it cow, I have somebody at the IGG, I have somebody at the police, I have somebody in parliament, I have somebody as a judge. So even if there is a deal gone bad, there is somebody to go and follow the file. That is where you see that those high profile cases, you never see their judgments. They drill and drill, and eventually they are overtaken by other new cases. Corruption facilitates environmental degradation. We have seen cases like here in Uganda, NEMA, giving out wetlands. And who occupies the wetlands? Very important persons. Giving up forests. They take them free of charge and develop them using money which they got free of charge. And for us, we pay when we get floods, when it becomes hot, and pay the price of climate change. As I've said, corruption destroys the future. With corruption, you cannot have a future. When people go to construct roads, they call it the one that they used me once. There was a polythene bag that was called "Use Me Once." You go buy merchandise, by the time you reach home, it is actually old, when you remove the merchandise, you throw it in the dustbin. Roads that even before the contractor hands over the road, it is old. They construct hospitals. You have seen them falling off. Toilets falling off. There was in Uganda, there was that airport, is it Akibwa? You saw the stands, how much they had used to construct the stand. Small stand. It is because people are engaging in corruption. They think about today, not tomorrow. One day David Cameron said that if the money that was stolen in Uganda was actually stolen in the UK, they would close shop. Corruption creates a vacuum of leadership that brings in the wannabes. Today I have seen, because of corruption, people who cannot even articulate any kind of issue have come into office. They are supported by the corrupt cartel that pays them to go to office. Because they must be in office to cover them. So the guy is in parliament, the guy is at the district, the guy is somewhere. Why? Because somebody brought him there. He's not competent, but to perform a duty. And then because the people are annoyed, they said, we voted the good ones. What did they do? So they settle for less. It is the reason that we are seeing situation move like this. As I've told you, opportunities everywhere have been destroyed. Mr. Museveni, at the opening of the 2016 parliament, he said since he came to office, his people have stolen money in roads equivalent to 5,000 kilometers of roads. Hello, 5,000 kilometers of roads. And how many people die of road accidents every day? 21. Multiply by 365, you'll see 21 times 365, 7,665. Corruption is murderous. We have seen people, the 19 women that die every day. 19 times 3, 65. 6,935 die in labor because there are no facilities. Doctors are not paid. We have seen money being allocated for buying of vaccine, and we have not seen the money. All the vaccine that we have in this country is not given to Uganda as donations. The problem of corruption has breaks nations. Most especially when they feel a given group of people coming from a given side of the country is in the middle of the looting. So if there are different communities and the like, you would see others look out. So they will never have a national cause. It must be in videos. Then that is when Michelle Longi's title comes in. It is our turn to eat. So in Africa it has become a ritual that whoever comes They come to steal, come to seek. There are even local proverbs that the one who gives you a position gives you to eat. That's ridiculous. That's scandalous. As Africa, if we don't stand up against corruption, we are finished. There was this hospital in Lugo, costing about $371 million. But there was another offer of a similar hospital by a Japanese at $60 billion. So how do they give the one of 371 and leave the one of 60? Who is eating the balance? The only thing they don't know arithmetics to add and see, add and subtract and say, no, this one is in the benefit of our people. If you moved around the outskirts like of Kampala, buildings are mushrooming, but the economy is down. Who are the owners of the buildings? It's the people in government, the public service. It is only in Africa where public service is high paid. It's only in Africa where the private sector, people are not rich. Only in Africa. There can never be another country that can be like that. It's only in Africa. In other countries, if when you come to work for government, you've come to serve. In Africa, in other countries, if you want to become rich, you go to the private sector. But today, in Africa, danger to our society. Corruption is a danger to our community. Corruption is a danger to our livelihood. We have seen these gangs, the gangs that you see around this country. These Bijambi are the ones that you see, machete. Because the people who are used to cut others are those who have never had opportunities in life. They see everybody as an enemy. When a country's resources are used for the benefit of everybody, there is harmony, there is love. Countries with lower cases of corruption, there's less murder, less stress, less hatred. You have good countries like Finland. Go to the Scandinavian countries. But in countries where corruption is high, they have to do corruption leads collapse of governments. Government have collapsed because of corruption. The Afghan government collapsed because of corruption. The Taliban's, they were radical, hard with stringent laws, but they were seen as more caring than the people in government. The guys in Kabul engaged in serious corruption. Money for roads eaten. Money for hospitals eaten. If you want to pass on a roadblock, you have to pay. So at the end of the day, people wanted to see them sooner than later. One time, a man called Mukalas, who was a contractor in this country, he gave an example. He said, see, somebody was attacking him. You've not given us a good roads. He said, wait a minute. I've even done my best. When I get a contract, the minister wants an inch of the road. The PS wants somebody. So I also do it for a what? For a profit. So at the end of the day, that is what you have. But you see, one thing about corruption, it kills the corrupt and also kills the victim. Because when there are no roads and there's an accident, we've had many die. very corrupt guys dying on the road. But of course, those whose taxes are being stolen die more. And many more of them die. You go to hospital when there are no drugs. It kills all of us. When the schools are bad, it kills all of us. Corruption is a deadly cancer that must be stopped. If we want to think that our dreams must be achieved in America, in the UK, in Canada, as if when God was creating this world, created us last, did He? Of course, no. The world was created on the same day. Countries are what they are because of the kind of leaders they have, because of how they utilize their resources. Japan, that basically has no, we should talk about, we don't talk about, reach up there. At one time it was the second largest economy in the world. When you go, whatever you see here, made in Japan. What we call the best here is made in Japan, cars, computers, all the hardware that we use, made in Japan. Even this bridge we are celebrating was constructed by the Japanese. Now they say Uganda is rich with the minerals, Congo is rich with the minerals, but they have zero. One kind of Botswana that only had diamond, and they decided to use it diligently to the benefit of their citizens, those living and those that are coming in the future. They have a success story. They have the strongest passport in Africa. Somebody from Botswana wouldn't want to go to Dubai to work as a maid. They go to Europe without a visa, some European countries without a visa. Why? They know somebody from Botswana wouldn't want to stay. He'll go back home because the jobs are there. But here we don't have opportunities for jobs in many African countries because money that should have been used to have those jobs was eaten. We don't have jobs. Oh, we are because corruption brought in leaders who should have been in office. You find somebody who could not even qualify to be a class monitor in P2. He's a leader. Somebody who was at the bottom of his class at university. He's the boss. A gentleman told me of his daughter who went to school in the UK and went to school with another young man connected. Now this young man, they got for an interview. The other guy got retakes, not even complete. But this one was given a job. So we left the best and he gave a wannabe. So it's like keeping goats in the castle of hyenas. And you expect to find your goats the next day. You can't. We must fight corruption. We should fight corruption for us to survive. There is no gamble on that. I want to thank you. I need feedback. About this problem. Let's start pointing them out Stop inviting them in your churches. Stop voting them. When you find him in a bar, leave the bar. Speak out, stand out, and we say we deserve better. Countries are because of the kind of leadership they have, because of the kind of citizen, a vigilant citizen. Even in America, they would want to steal. But because the citizens are saying, no, don't touch on our money, they won't touch it. But this kind of laissez-faire kind of behavior is what is causing what we're seeing. Thank you so much. God bless you. Allow me to greet you in the greeting of the FPC. One Uganda, one people. Bye for now. We'll meet next time. Go on my YouTube. Watch whatever is there. It will be for your own benefit. Leave a comment as a form of feedback for us to compare. Thank you so much.